you have fun and you make money. I'm going to give you one ugly example, but I'll give you this reality of life. Okay. I used to manage a call center, about 500 representatives, technical call center, right, in North America. Run 24 hours, 365 days a year. And the problem was that the company that I worked for was an internet service provider. And they were the largest in North America at that time. So, customers would call for all kinds of reasons. So one of the things that the company really wanted to offer to their customers, a strategic plan, was very good. I agreed with them, and they really beat the hell out of their competition because of that. Right? One of those things. Is that we'll give them a software that protects their computer from harm that comes in through the internet, viruses and stuff like that. And unfortunately, in this world, with all due respect to everybody, there are good things, there are bad things. There are haram things, there are halal things, right? In the West, there's no such concept of haram, halal, right? They just do what they want to do. Alcohol is not haram for them. After death, they don't live again. They become dust and they walk. They don't believe in the hereafter. They don't believe after, right? So a lot of these people, men and women, would call the call center and say, "Help me!" What happened? Something happened to it. It's possessed. What happened? I'm trying to close the windows. When I close one, 10 others open up. You know what it is? Yes or no? Yes. No. Okay. It's not a very good thing. It's a very bad thing, right? So what these people did, they used to go to unethical sites, pornography and so on. I would do that in a shame. But being in that industry, internet service provider industry, they can't prevent what comes in through the internet. They just provide the internet service. It's up to the person. So they used to go to some filthy sites, and those sites would have viruses. So now, once they open that site, they go there, they click on, I don't know what they click on, and so they get infected. And it's called rapid fire, right? They shut down one page, boom, 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 50 pages open again. And one worse than the other. So now this guy would call at 8 o'clock in the morning and say, "Help me, my wife is going to arrive in 5 minutes. This damn thing is not shutting down." What should we do? How should we help them out, right? So we need to know how to kill that, right? So we have a software and stuff like that. So we have to train all of these people in helping the customers do what they want to do. We cannot teach them ethics. We cannot say, "Oh, you unethical moron. How dare you get on it?" That's not my business, right? It's a business deal, right? So we can't do those things. What happens? We used to test that software, that firewall software that did a lot of things. We used to try to break it willfully. We used to try to hack into it. Test it out. Not being an engineer, not as a coder, but as a user, right? I used to do things to it, and I used to have a group of about 15 to 20 trainees in class. I used to have 15 to 20 computers to give it to each one. Go ahead, break it. I challenge you, right? By the evening, I used to mirror them again, make them new. The next morning, we used to crash them badly when we started. I used to mirror them again in the evening for the next day. So this training went on 6 months. But that testing thing is a very, very well-paid business. We used to get testers out from the outside, right, who knew nothing about the application. And they used to come and break it up. And we used to fix it again. Then we used to close the loopholes. They used to break it up. So you see, very, very valuable. Technical hacking, etc., etc. Right? To be a hacker, you need to be technical. But for a tester, you don't need to be technical. You understand? I know a real life example, right? A guy, he does engineering, mechanical, I think, from Hyderabad. I think I told you about this. Guy lives in Saudi. He got married about 3 years ago. He had was having his first child. So he sent his wife to Hyderabad for delivery, Hyderabadi culture. She came here. And so he was there, drying up for 6 months. So now the guy needs to start cooking with the family now. He's not going to do restaurants. You know, bachelor friends and all this kind of stuff. Bachelor life is gone. So he started cooking at home. And he discovered that he absolutely loved cooking. And man, the guy was good at it. Trust me. He made biryani. I'm telling you, I licked off the skin off my finger. I mean, it was good. It was good. He made kebabs. Sheep kebab. Oh, we went to a farmhouse and he got 10 kilos of meat. And I'm a meat eater. So this guy brought the coal and I'm telling you, I've never had kebab. I'm telling you, I've never had. That guy is, and he is passionate about it. So he told me that, you know what? I want to give up this engineering thing. I want to come back to India or even in Saudi. I want to start a restaurant. There are people who are willing to invest. And he started cooking for friends and their families and stuff for a small little function. So he started cooking biryani and kebabs for 100 people, 50 people. And they loved it. So he told me this. So he told his father. You know what his father said? माँ का पोता चुपके भी गया इतने पैसे चुपके खर्च करा दौड़ची बंदा. What kind of attitude is this, right? And I'm telling you, who knows the restaurant called Four Seasons? Yeah, Four Seasons. I totally should. Do you know the history? Do you know how they started? And you know how wealthy he is, mashallah? His name is Naeem. You know how wealthy he is, mashallah? He's got at least a few hundred crores, mashallah. May Allah protect him. So, I mean, yeah. He started off very humble, very, very humble start. Have you heard of Charmaz? Yeah. Charmaz? His son and daughter got married about 5 years ago. Here in Hyderabad. And I went to the wedding, the reception at Pearl Garden Function Hall in Secunderabad. You know the 2 Pearl Gardens? And they're huge. They don't have a gate. They don't have a boundary. So we rented them both. There were probably easily about a couple of 100,000 people there. 2 lakhs. Easily. So the function, the reception was not at the side. It was from the side till the people come. And so he had food booths every little place. Vegetarian, non-vegetarian. And the non-vegetarian wasn't just something thrown in your face. He had 3 types of chicken, 4 types of mutton, 5 types of fish, and 3 types of biryani, and this, and that, and that, and that. And they were making it right there. And it just kept showing up. Yeah, any idea how much that guy spent on that wedding? But do you know how he started? Very humble, very small, very little, as a tailor shop, apparently. That's what he said. I don't remember the whole story, but apparently his wife loaned him some money from somewhere, and he started a little tailor shop. And today, he has a couple of 1,000 crores, not 100 crores. He has a couple of 1,000 crores. Easy, very easy. And he's not going to slow over. I'm talking outside of India as well. Yeah? Very well. Start a little, start a small. See, don't undermine any profession, period. Right? Just because you're an engineer, don't go, oh, it's beyond, yeah. Did you ever meet Naeem? You know, Siddhi's right down at the corner. Did you meet him? That guys they have millions of dollars. They are millionaires. They started off very humble. Who looks down upon them? Will anybody ever dare calling them a bochi? I'm not. Gee, I use bochi. Yeah, bochi. Exactly. Right. So don't undermine or don't look down upon a profession. If it's halal, it can be good. Reap the benefit of it. Okay? Literally. Both these people hire engineers to construct the building. Naeem has a service department in Falargan Colony. He hired engineers. And he did that work like in less than a year it was done. He had money, man. Money flowing out of his pocket, mashallah. Right? Boom, boom, boom. Building is done. Perfect. Perfectly finished. He has a penthouse on the top. Within less than a year it was done. Right? He has the money. He can hire people. Both cheap. Yeah, all of them both to see what happens. Right? You agree? Right. Successful people. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You can do that. And We can talk about this later, right? Do you know writers who are millionaires? I know them. Public speakers, millionaires. I know them. I've attended their sessions. That's why. I mean, they're hired. They're paid thousands of dollars for a 2-hour session. And I've been to sessions like that. The way they explain the concept of what the business is trying to sell, publicly they stand and talk. Absolutely fantastic. They get paid. Like this guy used to get paid about $10,000 for 2 hours. $10,000 for 2 hours. And the client used to fly him in a business class, set him up in a 3-star hotel. Back and forth cab or arrangement. Meals 3 times, food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and not something we leave those on. You know, I'm telling you, expensive food, fish, chicken, mutton, beef, shrimp, seafood, whatever. Yeah. I mean, this is awesome. I would love to be that. I just love to be that. Oh, I love food, but I love it so much I won't be able to criticize it. I don't get in there. Yeah, I love food, but you know, these guys get paid a lot. How do you get into it? That's another conversation, another session, another time. But these are your options, right? Being an engineer, you can do all these things. An innovator. You know the guy who invented the vacuum cleaner? You know? You know his name? Yeah. He's an inventor. The current day modern vacuum cleaner. This primarily his idea, right? He just sits at home. He has a big, like a, toy shop in his house. It's a huge house. He's a multi-millionaire, probably even a billionaire. I don't know. He has I don't know how many patents to his name, and I don't know how many hundreds pending. He just invents every day. It's not only just for fun. He has a cushy life. He enjoys it every second of his life. Not 1 second of his life is boring. He enjoys it. You don't have to be an engineer. Use your brains, right? See, as long as you have the ability to figure out what the gaps are in human life. If you can fulfill that need, you've made it. That's all there is. Nothing else, right? Any questions? Any questions, guys? No? Sure. Yeah, sure.
How to figure out this at all? What's the framework?
Good question. We'll just touch on it. We're not going to go into too much in depth. How do you figure out what the problem is? I'm trying to think of a really good example. Okay, good. I'm going to use this example twice, right? From the aspect of your question, how to figure out what the problem is. Most of the time, the problem exists right under our noses, but we don't look there. For example, KFC. Right? You know what KFC, you know the history of KFC? Yeah? What is it?
So normally Kentucky Fried Chicken is from US, from the state of Kentucky. He started with chicken and he went to all his neighbors and all started eating them. They liked it. And he was rejected many times before someone accepted that. And he was an army person, he was a veteran.
Well, what was the ideology? What was his ideology? What gap did he fill? Right? Coffee. McDonald's, or any KFC, McDonald's, but you just name it. Tim Hortons, you name it. Any fast food store, coffee, right? Coffee is such a thing that's been created in the market, that's to market it. Americans like to have fun as well. They sometimes, some of them, sleep late at night, and some of them, actually most of them, because they don't follow the way of life, the way, for example, the rich ones, they get into depression, which makes them sleepy. They need something to wake them up. Have you ever had McDonald's coffee? No. No, please don't. You'll make the biggest mistake of your life. I mean, it tastes like S T. That's the best description I give you. Do you understand what I said?
Yeah.
I mean, who's tasted it? Nobody, but that's the best description you can give it. Wow. The Americans call it muddy water. body water this morning. Wakes them up. Yes, it's very strong. It tastes horrible. It smells horrible. Right? Who smokes cigarettes in this room? Raise your hand. I'm glad nobody did. We will smack that hand. Right? Please don't. Sorry, good thing to do. I did it once. Actually twice in my life I did. Right? And I'm not happy about it. But in junior college, you're right, you know, you're fine. I did not keep up. I'll get there. Right. The family friend said, hey, I almost died. I don't know what the hell it was. They lit it up on the cough in my the world spun. And I never sit on the road. Just outside of the college, I had to sit down with them. I thought I was going to die. I thought I'm dead today. You know, I thought I'm going to I didn't want to lay down, but my head was spinning. I closed my eyes. My head was hurting. My nose was hurting. It was my tongue was like I don't know what was happening to it. The most filthy, gross thing I've ever tasted. But you know, it's $1 trillion business. They just created that. That's how. We don't want to do that. But what I'm saying, there are lots of needs that people have. They're just waiting to be discovered. They're waiting to be discovered, right? Like KFC. Murgi dalta kehte hain. That's what people would say. Yes or no? Murgi dalta kehte hain, बेवकूफ. मुर्गियां नहीं है, तलने वाले नहीं है. Murgi dalta kehte hain. Right? That's what a person would think. Yes or no? Right? But what did he have in mind? He didn't look at murgi dalta. He looked at it as, you know, the Americans are busy. They're always on the go. Go. They want healthy, good food. They want healthy and good food. Beef, red meat, fatty. Mutton, red meat, fatty. Fish, too expensive. Chicken, make it tasty. Has a little bit of batter, really good flavor. It will sell like hotcakes. And it did. And that's how we made a global empire, man. That's a need, right? You can think of thousands of needs. I mean, they're sitting right in front of us today. It's just a question of opening your mind and looking at it. Again, there's a thing called Qadar Allah. After you do the right things in life, then Qadar Allah, right? But don't give up. Eventually, it's going to happen. Can somebody give me a piece of paper that I can throw away, please? A piece of paper that I can throw away. Wait, don't tear it up. Any piece of paper that's not in use. I just want to throw it away. Just some piece of paper. Right? Anyways. So the point being, so you got some? Oh, fantastic. You don't need this? Oh, beautiful. Can you give me that? Why? I got it.
You have.
Thank you very much. I just study that. Okay. I got it. Oh. Do that one. Okay. Anyways. I'm just going to keep it. It's sitting there doing no harm to anybody. Don't worry. Okay. Right? So the point being, again, to answer your question, be on the lookout, right? Be on the lookout. Be ready. The more you think straight, the more you live life straight, the more you keep improving on your strengths and your weaknesses, the more you get ready for, I know, you're ready, right? But this guy wasn't. You see, he didn't even know that that paper was coming to him. Yeah, please. Thank you. You understand? You still want it, right? But take it a few times, right? There you go. Now, see, the third time, now you're all ready, aren't you? Yes, aren't you? Thank you. Right? It's just a piece of paper harms. But what happens? These opportunities fly by us every day, and we don't even know they're gone. You understand? The first time you got it, now you have it. Now you're ready for it. See, he prepared all the time. Then you start recognizing, oh, it went by. Oh, another one. Oh, this one I'm going to get. You get it? That's as simple as it is. What opportunity? I don't know. If we make a list, if we really put our heads together and start making a list, there are billions of them. Right? But it's just a question of getting used to recognizing those opportunities. And you will, when we follow certain मिस्टर मिसिस नहीं, उनका बच्चा नहीं, वो डॉक्टर है, उनकी बेटी नहीं, डॉक्टर नहीं है। उनके बाबा ही डॉक्टर, ABCD के बाबा है, उनकी अम्मा ही की। उनके बाबा है, अच्छे डॉक्टर हैं, बड़ा घर है, मर्सिडीज है जी। All of these things. Why? Just to show people. That's the only reason why. Yeah. 99% of the time, that's what it is. And when you're a doctor, you don't care about the quality of your life. Money keeps coming. Money is money. You don't choose a career because of money. No. You choose a career because you're good at it, and then money follows it. You don't choose a career because of money in it. No. Every career has money. Don't you? KFC, money. मुर्गी का ताकत है, मुर्गी बन गए, ताकत के लाता है, right? And if your children don't want to follow that, guess what? All hell breaks loose. Fighting, yelling, screaming, crying. I've seen my mother got. I've seen that. Being a counselor, I've seen it. I'm telling you, I've seen it. I'm not kidding. Right? What is this answer? Right? Communicate. And that's what people over here need to communicate with those parents of those side. I'm a counselor, that's why I know this. I'm telling you, I see this almost every other day. Right? I don't know how to cry, what about the baby? Because he doesn't want to become a doctor. Because he doesn't want to be an engineer, he wants to be an accountant. Look, right. This is what happens. Anyways, go on. Any questions? Yeah. Not a doctor. See, now, I asked you that question. I said, the movie Talne Wala. And I know somebody who has a franchise at GDK Mall. You know the KFC franchise? His name is Hyder. Right? He has a franchise and he paid big bucks to get that franchise. And he's earning big bucks from that franchise. From who? From Murgi Talne Wala. Yeah? Now imagine, do you ever hear anybody call Hyder Murgi Talne Wala? No. Saab? Are you Saab? Saab? Yeah, that's how it is. Why? Well, that's what people are after. Well, show it to them. See, being a doctor and engineer are not the only ways to make money. I told you, I gave you some examples, right? You've got to convince, you've got to communicate and let them know, right? If your parents or somebody are resistant to your selecting the right path, communicate to them, and we'll get to it. We'll get to that, right? So these are some of the steps, and we'll tell you what you're supposed to do. Yeah? Millionaire. The person has a house, a huge house, has 5 Mercedes and 2 Bugattis and 3 Ferraris. Guess what? Now nobody says doctor ke baba. Unke baba. Unke baba. Not engineer, doctor, well, whatever. If you get the same things they're looking for through another means or some other means, will that be resistant? Absolutely not. As long as that thing comes in. Because this good thing and an evil thing called money, as long as it keeps coming in, everybody's pushing. Right? This is not my doctor, a child. Right? Yeah, everybody's happy. It sounds stupid, like literally stupid simple. In fact, in project management, we have the saying, make it stupid simple. It should be so simple that it sounds and it looks stupid. That's how simple life is. Actually, life is that simple. It's not complicated. We, out of our we make life difficult and complicated. Yeah. Now, this is something we need to talk about. Who wants to be the father here? Somebody play the father. Come on, somebody raise your hand. I'm going to play the son role. Okay? Alright. I want to do, what should I do? I want to do economics. You want me to be a doctor. Dad, I want to be an economist, Dad. I want to do economics.
Why don't you try management? It gives you a lot of money.
Yeah, economics is all about money, Dad.
You know, most of the doctors make money, but most of the economists don't.
I know, but that's not something I like, Dad. I really like economics, Dad.
Can you tell me why you like economics?
Oh, that's a favorite subject of mine. I like to think about money. I like how money comes, how money goes, where to spend, how much to spend. I really like it.
But you need to have money to spend. But economics,
Yes, exactly. That's what I like about economics. Okay then, cool. I still have 1 year. Fine, I go away. After a month, I do something that shocks the hell out of my dad. He did this. This little kid did this because of economics. Now, all of a sudden, he's going to think twice before he challenges me. Yes or no? See, prove myself. What I mean, prove yourself, is that when you go ahead and propose a subject or a career path to your parents who don't want to agree with you, you show them some proof. You give them something concrete. There was a student of mine in the IELTS, one of my IELTS batches, recently, about a week ago or something. This guy's name was Praneet or something. Praneet. Very nice guy. He was 35 years old. He worked in the government office. And after one of my sessions, he said, "Sir, I will commit suicide, sir." What? Sir, I will kill myself. I said, what? Why don't you kill yourself? Right? Government office, bad office, sir. Bad office. Marketing, corruption, every day corruption. I kill myself. So why did you get the job? What do you do? He's an engineer. My father told me to become an engineer. I became an engineer. What did he want to do? He wanted to do, I'm forgetting what he said, but he wanted to do some other subject. You know, the point is that he did not prove to his parents that he can really be good at it. And the benefit of the subject that he was choosing, he did not show that benefit. He did not prove that benefit to his father and mother. And culturally, they just beat him down on the head and they forced him to do his engineering. And he works for the water department in Hyderabad municipality or whatever, something like that. Right? He hates everything about his job. He does not like mathematics, but somehow he passed it. He does not like the government office, but he has to go there every day. He's so depressed that he wants to commit suicide. Now, is that an extreme level of depression? Yes or no? Right? This happened because he didn't prove to his father and mother, look, I can do something good for myself and for you. See, I can do this. Prove. Because what happens a lot of times, what? Come on. Say it, man. Don't be shy, say it.
Baby shy. I think so.
Say it, dude.
I don't know, many times Mr. Norman had something which he wanted to present to his parents, but he didn't do it. So,
Okay, good. Tell them to start moving. Right? Cool.
but listen,
Right? Those two are not good combinations of each other. Right? Okay, anyway, right? Give them something real. A lot of time what happens, especially in Hyderabad, and the Hyderabadi language, I apologize. I hope nobody's offended by this. Right? I just take it as a joke. Because people laugh at me too. When I first came to Hyderabad, I used to speak in the Urdu language and they used to roll on the floor laughing and say, "Where did you come from?" I had to relearn the language. Right? But anyways, now I'm relatively okay. So most people can't tell where I'm from. But if I talk for half an hour, they can. So where are you from? You know, hands up, I'm hot. Right? But anyways, in the Hyderabadi language, I've heard they call this Hawaii fire. Hawaii fire. Right? People say a lot of things. Holy mackerel, 1 month later, कुछ नहीं करता तू. Right? So who's going to believe you? Really? Who's go look at it. So we went out, we spent the whole day going around, look at this land, that land, that land, that land. You see something? It's a land. You see the people? It's a zameen, it's a land. What do you mean crazy day? It's like a land. See, now he's telling me what the person's not. Anyways, give me a business plan. So the guy said, no, cutting it. But cutting this way, but cutting it, and how does that give you profit? You expect, no, like, okay, cool. That's why we will land by land for awesome, let's do that. So this guy said, no, really just party guy, lots of passion. So he said, I have customers. Cool, okay, let's go. Evening. Come tomorrow, iron? I said, okay, I'm sure. Bring the customer, we'll get the agreement on him, we'll put the money down, 25% of whatever, we'll pay the 25%, get the agreement done. Everybody knows, clear, right? And then when the customer comes, we'll sell them at this price. Cool, bring the customer. It's been a month, the customer still hasn't arrived. Prove it, right? That's what I'm saying. You prove things to yourself and to your parents. When you prove it, your parents will believe you. But if you just talk Hawaii fire, who's going to believe you, right? Get it? You've got to prove yourself. You have to, no matter where it is, parents or no parents, whoever, you've got to prove yourself. To do something that they disagree with, you've got to prove yourself to make them agree with you. That's one of the most important things. You've got to have to do that. Right? Right. To prove it, say, I tell you, I make fantastic pudding or an Indian pakora. I make very good pakora. So you eat the pakora and say, so you know I'm not a good pakora maker. Yeah? But you haven't eaten, whoa, give me one. Oh, give me one. I know the pakora was good. Right? The proof is in the pakora. I mean, you do it and show it to me. Show it to me. Prove it. Then we'll see. We'll talk it. Yeah? And this is true anywhere. In any relationship, in any aspect of life. This is true. You prove it, you'll get it. You don't prove it, you won't get it. Any questions? Yes, no? Any questions? No? Go on. What does that mean? Anybody? What does that mean? Truly accept. What? Tell us.
So, to excel in whatever aspect they're working on. Like,
What does that mean? To accept.
personality-wise, mentally, psychologically.
So students, that's why, students. So when excel, the students excel, what does it mean for a student to truly excel? Anyway.
The GPA should be good.
Sorry?
The GPA should be good.
There you go. 100%. No. Very important. Very important. Don't focus on marks. Don't even pay attention to marks. Don't even know the word called marks. Forget it. Do this. The marks will come and kiss your feet. That 100%, one followed by 2 zeros, will sit in your pocket 24 hours a day. I'm telling you all that. Who can do that? You know what? In India, I've probably found 0.1% of the students who can do this. But in the US, I've found 99.9% of the students who can do this. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. That's right. I mean, they'll explain the subject back and front, left and right. You think, oh, this person has a PhD or what? I mean, they're spectacular. 99.9%. India, if you get 0.1%, yes, oh yeah. Oh yeah, let's see it. Prove it. Prove it in the pakora. Come on, prove it. Let's see. Right? Okay. You understand this? Because any subject, any area of knowledge, see, the most sought after scholars, scientists, philosophers know a fact that comes from Quran and Sunnah. Humans, all of our knowledge and technology and civilization put together throughout the history of humanity know only one dot, or what actually exists out there. Did you understand what I said? Every single true scholar, learned man, learned woman, learned human of today acknowledges that if we combine all of the knowledge of humanity put together from the first day till the last day, till today, we have only one dot. And where did that come from? Do you know the story of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, Khidr alayhi salatu wasalam? Yeah, in Surah Al-Kahf. Who knows that story? You know it? Yeah, what happened? What did Khidr alayhi salatu wasalam tell Musa alayhi salatu wasalam? And then the boat, that little bird came, a small bird. That bird, the beak wasn't that small. Imagine how much water it could carry. It dipped its beak in the water and drank. And Khidr alayhi salatu wasalam said to Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, he said, your knowledge and my knowledge combined is like that drop of water in that bird's beak compared to the ocean. The ocean being compared to the knowledge of God. And Musa alayhi salatu wasalam and Khidr alayhi salatu wasalam, they were not people of small knowledge. Khidr alayhi salatu wasalam, you know, he did three things. Do you know that? He made a hole in the boat, then he killed a man, and he set up the wall. How would anybody know that? Would you? Would I? Impossible. And then what do you say? This is not of my own. This is knowledge that Allah gave me. How we know? Right? So there's so much knowledge out there, we know nothing about it. We know nothing. Nothing. Nothing means that. Zero. Dot. Even the dot is not perfect. Right? So literally, having known that means there's so much scope to expand on our knowledge. Isn't there? Yes? You should be able to explain that potential future, theorize, right? Hypothesize, right? And you should be able to logicize that. You should be able to prove it only in theory yet. That's what. That's when we say you have knowledge and understanding of that. The potential, where is it going in the future? What's it going to do? Right? And we can talk about this for 5 years. What's happening today? Do you know about hydrofuel? Yeah? It's a subject that some say is already there. You know, the giants of the automobile industry are stopping it and whatever, the governments are stopping it. No. But the possibility that it's there. And if it's there, where else can it go? What else can we get our energy from? For example, fuel, right? Petroleum jelly. In Saudi Arabia, it oozes out of the sand. Very easy to get, very rich. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them that. Guess what? In Canada, they have about 2,000 miles of a rock. That's about, I think, 10 kilometers deep under earth. And its thickness is about 10 kilometers or something. I don't know the exact number, but something like that. And it's 2,000 miles long. One solid slab of granite or some kind of a rock. And they extract gas out of it, shale gas. Can you imagine? Gas inside a rock. The cooking gas that you use, you know, that red gas cylinder you turn on and the light and fire comes up. That's the one. They have gas in a rock. How would you know that? You see, we don't know anything about it. We know nothing about this world. So you've got to know the potential of the subjects you take. At least the direction. You should understand the magnitude of the future of that subject that you've taken. That's when you know something about your subject, right? Not just getting 100%. The 100% will follow. Yeah? High marks will come. Get your practicality. I was on a project. I have two projects that I've done. I'm trying to remember which one it was. Critical tools lifecycle. So I used to work for a power transmission company, not generation, not supply, transmission. Transmission means power generated by the power plant, and then from the power plant to the end user, cities, substations. So they transmit the power from there to there. So they have three groups of companies kind of thing, but three sectors of that industry: generation, transfer, and supply, basically. Right. So I used to work for the middle section at that time. Very interesting. And these guys have assets that power lines were some 300 million miles long. Because power lines from I mean, all over North America, right? Huge power lines, massive. And then each power line has to be maintained based on what kind of power energy the level goes through, 25,000 volts. It has to be a certain height above ground. It cannot be over a city, etc., etc. It can't be over certain things or whatever. And the towers have to be a certain way, blah, 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 blah. And so each pole, just an electric pole, like by the house or some farm or whatever, one pole would have anchors, depending on how it is, what the style is. That one pole would have about 100 components in it. Each component had a life cycle. So they, trust me, over here, you pass a transformer or a substation and you sneeze loud, achoo! The power goes off for half an hour. Yes. I mean, a windstorm, power gone. Rain, power gone. Over there, if the power goes off for 1 minute and 1 month, the company better file an official report to the regulatory board telling them why the power went off, what was the root cause, and what they're going to do to prevent this in the future. You understand? And if they don't, millions of dollars of fines. And if they still don't, shut down. Somebody else comes. That's how rigid they are. That's how perfect they are. You understand? But what I'm trying to say is because of this, each component had very satisfactory. So one of the anchors of the poles, the anchor had a hook, right? A loop hook. You know what a loop hook? There's a wire, steel wire, and that wire has a built-in hook that way, right? A steel hook, you've seen, right? So the hook would attach the wire from the pole, right? And the hook was buried deep in the ground, anchored deep in the ground, right? So somewhere, somehow, the hook broke. The pole didn't fall, but the hook broke. And then there are, you know, the Internet of Things kind of thing. So there's an application that feeds the health of that. So we got an alarm, so we went there to replace it. But that hook came to our office. So this young guy, Chris, new guy, was working on this project. And the way he handled this, I'm like, could you please be on all my projects? As a project manager and business analyst, actually on that one as a business analyst, right? So I had to figure out what to do for their life cycle. How did they monitor their life cycle and replace them proactively, right? So that the power doesn't go off. So the way this guy went ahead and analyzed what he sent, to who he sent, how he documented it, why did that metal break? They put it under different types. He knew every kind of stress test that the metal should undergo and how to do that, how to read that report. I mean, the guy was just absolutely awesome. 26 years old.